historic drought, and that demands unprecedented action. It's for that reason that I'm issuing an executive order mandating substantial water reduction across our state.
For what? So prior to him issuing the executive order, he initially called for a 20% voluntary reduction in water usage across the state. However, there were still areas of California where water usage increased from previous years. Some of the laws that are included in this executive order include restrictions on water usage, both indoors and outdoors, with a restriction on watering, outdoor watering on lawns and gardens limiting to 2 days a week. And irrigation, like sprinklers, needs to maintain on grass and lawns, and it is not allowed to hit to spray sidewalks. If anyone in here is a car enthusiast and likes to wash their car in the driveway, it's important to know that you need to have a nozzle with a shutoff valve on your hose, or else you can be fined if you like to wash your car at home. Interesting one is hotels are now required to give guests the option to decline fresh towels and linens in an effort to reduce the water used by washing every single day if guests don't necessarily need to have one cleaned every time. One that you may have noticed going out to eat is if you go to a restaurant, they will not bring you a glass of water with your menus anymore. And that is another law that's been up there from this executive order. Unless you specifically ask for a glass of water, you're not going to get one just brought on to the table. Local water agencies are also required to notify customers if they hear of a leak. So if they get tipped off to, say, someone says their neighbor's house is leaking a lot of water, they have to notify that customer as soon as possible so they can get the leak fixed as soon as possible and reduce the amount of water that gets wasted. So violations, if people are caught and and found to be wasting gross amounts of water, they can be fined up to $500 per day for the water that's being wasted. And according to Andrew Pistano of UPI News, Governor Brown has introduced legislation that could raise that fine to $10,000 for the worst offenders. And that Brown was quoted saying the steep fines would be only for the worst of worst offenders, but it really goes to show how serious the state is about people wasting water. Governor Brown has also proposed to give more power to cities to give out citations and warnings and to help further spread the knowledge that we do need to save water. So I want to talk a little bit about then and now, about our resources in the state. So these two photos here are the same spot on Lake Oroville. The first photo is in 2011 prior to the drought, and it is at maximum capacity. And the second photo here is taken in 2014, and it's only at 32% capacity. It's also worth noting that this year will be even worse than this one because we had more snowpack last year than we did this year. Snow, like Andrew Albert mentioned, is very important to our water pack. It has a huge impact. So 75% of our state's water comes from snowmelt, and with the lack of snow this year, it's going to really affect our water levels as summer continues and our reservoirs continue to be drained. So with less and less water at the state's disposal, legislators have been forced to come up with new and creative ways to help conserve water and reduce wasting. Although some of the restrictions may seem a little odd, like not giving water at restaurants, they all serve to either explicitly conserve water or to further spread the knowledge that we are in a drought and water needs to be saved. With that, I'm going to hand it off to Anthony, who's going to talk about economic impacts.
Do you know that in 2015 alone, the drought may cost California's farmers almost $3 billion? The California drought is affecting the nation's economy drastically and is impacting the way people live today. I will discuss the negative impact that the drought has on California's farming industry, unemployment, and in the prices of products. Let's start out first by talking about the impact it has on farming. Here's a video by National Geographic talking about the California drought that is affecting people across the globe economically.
In China, only 1% of that water is for cattle to drink or for other uses on the farm. The remaining 99% is used to produce feed and hay for the cattle. Much of China's imported alfalfa hay comes from California, which is suffering one of its worst droughts on record. Alfalfa is the state's largest agricultural water user, and Chinese imports of U.S. alfalfa have grown drastically since 2005, reaching almost 650,000 tons in 2013. Growing that took 310,000 acre-feet of U.S. water. That's equivalent to the amount used annually by 800,000 American families. The issue of agriculture's water footprint, meaning all the water used to produce a commodity and get it to a consumer, is contentious, since many farmers use scarce water to produce low-value export crops. But at the very least, we can all be more aware of the water that arrives not just in our glasses, but on our plates. In China, only one...
This video does a good job and has good facts in explaining how people from all over the world are experiencing the impact of the drought in California. The California drought is affecting the farming industry in a negative way. A few professors from the UC Davis did a study on the drought called the 2014 Drought Economic Impact Study. This team did a series of 2 studies. One last year in 2014, which is the one on the left, and this one for this year, the one on the right is for this year, 2015. And this was released actually 2 days ago, so I was lucky enough to research it and put it up on my presentation for you guys. According to the 2014 study, there was a total economic impact in California of $2.2 billion. According to estimates released on June 2nd, farmers will have about 33% of water supply loss. The study estimates about 564,000 acres will be fallowed, and fallow is a term used to describe a farmland that's being unused. And the total economic cost will be $2.7 billion in 2015. The 2015 drought is not as severe as initially anticipated, but it's much worse than 2014 in terms of economic impact in the agricultural industry. Basically, if you compare the numbers, you can see that for each section, the number increases, which means that the drought is getting worse every year. And this is a bad sign because numbers don't lie. Having a negative impact on the farms because of the drought means that thousands of jobs are being lost. According to the study in 2014, 17,100 jobs were lost last year.